Hello and welcome to the first video in the series of videos for the project number 2, where we're going to be modeling an older person, a person with wrinkles in ZBrush. So we'll start in Maya, we'll finish up in ZBrush, and then Substance Painter. So I have decided to model Ian McKellen, aka Magneto, this person right here. So the first thing I did is I found two images online, one image of the straight up front view of him and one image of the side view. You can see the image that I chose for the side view here. It took a while, not gonna lie, to find two images, so you know, be patient when you are looking for them. But here they are, and here they are in Photoshop. I've put them side by side, and you can see I have guides or rulers here, and I'm just, you know, placing rulers and matching up the two images. So this line underneath the nose very roughly but closely matches this line right there. Sorry, this is gonna keep coming up. I'm not sure what this is about, so let's ignore it. Then yeah, the chin, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, the top of the head, the ears also, you can see, are matched pretty much. So, and then I made sure here the same thing, right? Made sure that they're both exactly the same size, because we're going to be using these as references in Maya, so that in Maya, when you are sculpting in one view, the other view is going to be consistent. So alright, so I'm gonna go export out. So yeah, export out these images, save them, and then pull up Maya. So this is our base mesh in Maya. So I'm going to be providing you with one of a male head and one of a female head. Yeah, so the first thing we want to do is we want to actually import our images. So we go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. Before that, we have to go to the view that we are going to import the image in. So I'm going to go to the front view right here. I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And this image is in here. So the front, import. So there it is, it's loaded. So you can see that it's visible in all of the views. And then I'm gonna go ahead and actually spacebar, right click, go to the left view, so the other view, because that's the orientation of my image. I go in there, I'm gonna select View, Image Plane, Import Image. Same thing, I'm going to go over here to the side and import. So now we can see, I'm gonna go ahead and hide all of these. Alright, so this is good. So the side image for some reason imported right where our camera is. Sometimes can happen, but do not be afraid. Just zero out its location like this. So yeah, like this. So now we have two images and they are lined up. Alright, they're exactly the same size. And they line up exactly the same, which is exactly what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my head back on. And I'm gonna slightly, you know, adjust it to kind of match with our image. A really cool thing to do is go into shading, X-ray. So now we can see through, basically. See that? But one thing that I'm seeing now is that this image is actually not centered. So if I go into shading X-ray, I can select this image, and I actually can see that it wasn't quite centered. So I want to make sure that I do my best in centering it. I'm actually gonna go ahead into wireframe mode and just center it best I can. Right, so right here kind of is the middle, I would say. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so that's great. And now I can go out of this view. And now that both of my images are in the right position where they need to be, I am going to select both of them here. I'm going to do something. I'm going to go right here into Channel Box Layer Editor. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer and assign selected objects. So this is something really cool that you can do. Basically, you can make, now these two images are in a layer, and you can make them visible and not visible with this. And here you can show the wireframe or have it as a reference. So now I have these as references. So now when I click and drag, they're not selecting, but they're still there. And they're staying always the same, which is exactly what we need. So let me just hide these for a second and talk to you about what is included in this bust. So you can see that there is mouth and there are eyes, right? So we're gonna keep the eyes and we're gonna just not worry about the mouth. But as we move the mouth, you know, this likely will kind of change. But let's just not worry about the mouth. But yeah, it's 3 different components. I'm gonna go ahead and right away just delete this eyes outer because I just don't want to deal with it. And yeah, so let's just get started. I'm gonna put this back on and I'm going to be editing in this X-ray mode, but I'm gonna go to the right view here. I'm going to be mostly working from the front and the side view right here. So if I could actually, I'm gonna mostly be working from these 2 views, and in each of the views I can just select X-ray for now, right? Cool. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be moving the topology and trying to adjust it to our reference images to get a base mesh so that it's easier for us to sculpt in ZBrush. But we're also going to be using sculpting in Maya here. So from poly modeling, next up is sculpting right here. So we press sculpting, and if you go into this view, select this model, right? And if I'm going to be using this pull a single vertex along a surface in any direction brush, basically, which looks kind of like this. The circle you see is the size of the brush. Sometimes when you start, the brush can be so big that you can't even see it. So the way to change the brush size is to press B and click and drag to the side, right? So here it is, B and click and drag to the side, left click. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start, you know, shaping my model. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure I have symmetry turned on, and I'm going to turn off these eyes for now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on symmetry, object X. So now once I pull something, you know, it's gonna be mirrored on the other side, which is exactly what we need. Another thing I'm gonna do is, because I can't see the whole model over here, I'm gonna actually click right here, go back to my move point, move tool, and I'm gonna move it behind the model, which is completely fine because in the front view it's still gonna stay the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back as a reference. So yeah, this is how I want to be working. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to go back here and, you know, just start sculpting. Making the brush big first and starting to pull the vertices back. You know, start big as always and then go into smaller and smaller areas. So I'm gonna start with just the general shape of the head. Here's my lips as well. So I'm gonna make the brush really big so that all of the lips move, basically. Make it a little bit smaller maybe. So, like so. That's pretty good. I'm not trying to be completely perfect at these stages, because a lot of this stuff is going to be able to be fixed in ZBrush. But I'm just going to show you really quickly kind of, you know, how I'm working with this. So here I'm pulling the eyes back a little. I'm pulling these vertices in, you know, and it all looks really nice on this side. I'm going to pull the neck in, pull the head out a little bit, you know, just trying to match up my silhouette. However, oh yeah, and the nose as well. Make it a little smaller. Yep, pull out the nose. There we go. However, when I go ahead and actually, I'm gonna turn off extra here and look in my regular view, it doesn't look as pretty as it's in my side view sometimes. But here, let's see. And yeah, actually this looks pretty good. So you can see it's kind of blocky now because I've pulled vertices out, so the head looks kind of blocky. So that's something we're gonna have to fix later. But now in the front view, I'm gonna press spacebar to go in the front view. I can kind of, you know, see where the eyebrows are. You know, they're quite high on his actor. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up these vertices, pull these closer together. Kind of pull down these eyes a little in this view. Let's see how this looks. Nice, it's pretty good. The chin looks pretty good as well. Let's see how we're looking here. Not too bad, but sometimes, you know, as you start pulling things down and up and stuff, like they can start looking weird from the sides, which is exactly what is happening here. So I can, you know, pull these out a little bit because we can only see the very side when we're looking at those different views. They're very contrasting, right? So we've got to make sure that we go ahead and almost basically fix these a little, fix them up a little. So here we see the eyes as well, right? We can try to line them up right there. Let's see how it sometimes looks kind of bad in different views. So a cool thing that you can do is just work with all of the views at the same time open so that you can exactly see what's kind of happening in what view, right? So now here I'm moving this inside part, right? So I can try to see if I can move it in this view. Not really. But yeah, just gotta be mindful of exactly what you're moving. So, alright. So now let's see the eyebrows kind of going forward a little bit. Maybe down a little. We can see the lips a little bit more. You know, just pulling them in. Just worrying about this for now. Let's see what this is. This is our lids. Let's try to bring it forward a little. Yep, and a little bit up. down. So yeah, just trying to match up everything. Yeah. So just trying to, you know, work with these. Maybe push this in a little bit so it's not so distracting for me. But yeah, let's see. Let's try to line up the lips next. So we can see that the lips are right there. See that, you know, sometimes it kind of looks like we're not exactly pulling exactly what we would like, but that's okay, because that's something we can fix as well, as I keep saying, in ZBrush. But let's see. Alright, let's try to do them from the front view first. So one cool thing that I sometimes do is I hide my model, right, so that I can see where exactly, you know, the underneath is, basically. So I'm, you know, kind of trying to mimic that smile. Another thing that I want to make sure you guys do is choose one side to build symmetrically, because the human face is not symmetrical. So I'm only using this side for symmetry, because if I switched between the side of the face, I would get different results, right? So it would not look quite right if I did switch from different sides for symmetry specifically. So that's about good on this side. And then now let's just see if we can go ahead and pull it in. Pull our lips in. So hide it again and pull our lips in. So now we can already see what's happening. There's a lot of bunching here, and it's, you know, going quite in right here in this view, you can see. So I'm going to try to mitigate that a little by, you know, smoothing a little bit. So shift to smooth, kind of similar to ZBrush. And go down a little bit. Yep. So mitigate it just a little, you know, kind of pulling these vertices out, pulling these a little bit in as well, like so. You see, making it smaller, pulling them in, seeing how that looks. Okay, and that looks a little better. So if I smooth it out a little bit, it should help as well. Nice. Okay. So that's great. Looks pretty okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this forward a little. So yeah, it's always adjusting. So it kind of looks a little odd currently, but we will try to fix that. So we'll see as we go. But yeah, next I'm gonna do the nose. I'm gonna keep fixing it up, and you know, I'm just gonna do a speed up, maybe skip, and check in with you guys. I'm a little further along. Alright, I think I have arrived at a stopping point. I could probably fiddle around for much longer, but you know, you guys get the gist. This is just it takes a lot of feel and, you know, just meticulousness, I guess, and always looking at your model from different sides and smoothing a little bit here and there, and, you know, doing something very wrong and then redoing it, you know. So no worries if it takes you what feels like forever. It's okay. And a lot of things you could still also obviously sculpt in ZBrush. I just like to get my models as close as possible before I go into ZBrush. So the last thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and bring the eyes back. Alright, so right now obviously our eye position has shifted, so they are not in the right spot, to say the least. So I'm going to make this invisible for a second and just go back to my selection tool and, you know, see what's happening here. So these eyes are definitely a little too far apart. So the best way I know how to fix this is by actually selecting them, going to mesh, separate. So now we have two different eyes and we're gonna work on one at a time. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modify center pivot so that it's in the middle, and I'm going to just position the eye in its socket basically. So I see that it needs to be just a tiny bit smaller. I think for this we could also probably hide our object, and, you know, just in different views we just make it visible, invisible, seeing where that iris is. You can see right here. So something like this probably would be good. And in terms of where it sits right here, you know, probably something like this would be good. Let's see, let's bring back our model so we can maybe see a little bit better. Oh, no. Select the eye. Go out just a touch. See how that looks, how we like it. Don't love it too much, but that's okay. We can, you know, fix it. Let's see, where does this one is to go? Okay, here. Okay. That looks pretty good. So, okay, wow, it's crazy now. But let's see. Okay, maybe we're gonna go in just a smidge. Just a smidge in. Maybe just a smidge up. Right in the middle of that eye. Right there. Let's see. Okay, actually that I like better. So little things make, little adjustments make a lot of difference, you know, so just keep that in mind. Okay. Let's see. Alright, I quite like that. I'm going to also adjust this a little bit now that we've had the eye in there. But yeah, I think I like this. I could potentially make it just a touch bigger. Like that. You know, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. Maybe just a touch smaller. Okay, that's gonna be good. So again, could mess around in here for a while. But I want to make sure that both of these eyes are at the same position. So I have this eye and it's in position and it's scaled and now I have this one that everything is at 0. So I'm basically gonna repeat the same things for this right eye, but I'm gonna copy and paste my values. So I'm gonna go into modify, center pivot, just like with the other eye, and I'm gonna just jump between the eyes and copy and paste. Okay. And then the scale is 0.825. 0.825. I'm gonna copy this number and I'm just gonna paste it. So now it looks good, except it is way too much to the left, and that's because the translate x value on this side of the x-axis is different. So we just need to reverse it to 0.15 instead of -15, and our eyes are perfectly in place. So now if we hide this, it looks pretty good. So the only thing I wanted to do is I wanted to give us a little bit more room there, a little more wiggle room now that we have our eyes. So all I'm going to do is scale this out just a smidge, and then maybe scale this in just a smidge. I'm going to turn my pictures back on, see how we're doing here. Okay. Alright. So that looks pretty good in my book. Nice. Okay, so we're done in Maya. Nothing more I wanted to do with you here. Really good job. Good luck doing the same thing. And now we're gonna export. Oh, actually, I'm looking at this view, looking at the top view, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. It looks like the ear is completely flat, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Just gonna push it in. Yeah, there we go. And that's a little bit better. Okay, that's better. Let's see if we messed them up. We did a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and move them back into position before we're done. Okay. Probably can move it up a little touch more. Okay. Now we're done. So I'm gonna hide these back. I'm gonna go into a perspective view. I'm gonna go ahead and exit the sculpt tool. I want to make sure that these eyes are combined again, because I just want them to be together. So mesh combine. Now I need to make sure that I delete history. Right? So now it's just poly surface. I can just say eyes. And we also need to make sure we freeze transformations for this and delete history for this as well. So edit, delete all by type, history, and modify, freeze transformations, and I'm gonna edit, delete by type history again. So yeah, cool. This is what our old man looks like. I'm seeing some stuff I could change still. Of course, I'm seeing this bump, but it's okay. We'll fix it in ZBrush. yeah, just, you know, could do it for hours probably. So, alright, we're gonna be exporting. So we're gonna select the eyes, Command select the face, the head. I'm gonna say File, Export Selection. I already did this once, so, but I'm going to say Maya to ZBrush 1, and I'm going to export it. Okay, that's all. Next step is ZBrush.